Wow, they did it. I really did not expect that team right there. And for everyone listening, it's a flag of that New York Giants helmet that's all over my wall here at school. And I just did not think that my football team was going to be able to do what they did. Um, I guess overnight into the early morning. Hello, everyone. Welcome to an episode of the Giant Take podcast. My name is Josh. The New York Giants have their new head coach. The New York Giants have signed former Baltimore Ravens longtime winning head coach John Harbaugh, who is going to be the future of this New York Giants team. He's going to have young players at the skill positions of wide receiver, running back, and quarterback in Cam Scadaboo, Malik Neighbors, Jackson Dart is the quarterback, Abdul Carter on defense, along with Dexter Lawrence. Maybe he'll still be on the team. Hopefully, will be, and we'll get things turned around. Kayvon Thibodeau, and then we'll have to build around the rest. Andrew Thomas in there as well. I'm just naming players. The Giants deal with John Harbaugh is expected to be for 5 years. Total value that nears around $100 million. He'll obviously be one of the highest paid quarterbacks, head coaches in the NFL, which is the same that he was at Baltimore. So nothing really changes there. But after all this time, and it's not even that long. I mean, this was like a week and a half, 2 week sort of turnaround process for the New York Giants that we said this was going to take that long. And it did. I did not think it was going to happen this early because it was really weird how the reports were happening yesterday. John Harbaugh had his first in-person interview with the Giants. Obviously, everyone said, don't let him leave the building. And then Diana Rossini and Connor Hughes, sorry, I'm going like all over the place here, but Connor Hughes said on WFAN yesterday, the SNY reporter covering the Giants, that the Giants were trying to not let him leave. We're trying to get him to sign the contract. Then Diana Rossini later reports a few minutes later that he's getting on a plane heading back to Baltimore to his home, and then he's going to interview with Tennessee. That was the report that came out, and all the Giants fans kind of took a deep breath in and said, oh, please, please, please do not let Cam Ward in Tennessee change your decision and you decide to go there over here. I don't know what happened. I'm sure we'll find out maybe in the coming days, weeks, or maybe we won't know for a while, but something must have changed, or maybe he sat down, he talked to his family or something like that to make the decision to come to the Giants. But whatever it was, John Harbaugh met with the team yesterday. He talked to Jackson Dart. I think that was probably a big decision, a big, at least, maybe move in his decision. Whatever Jackson Dart did, whatever they were talking about, they might have connected. I'm assuming they did, obviously, for him to then make the decision that he was going to become the next New York Giants head coach. This is wild. This is really cool. And I'm just really so excited for what John Harbaugh can bring to this New York Giants team because if you think about it, the Giants haven't had a head coach like this in a long time. And it's been, unfortunately, at least in my lifetime, as being 20 years old, and yes, you might call me a youngin', that's fine. But I'm going to be completely honest, and you know this, Giants fans, and since that's been the case, obviously, Tom Coughlin, who 2 Super Bowl rings under his belt, that's not who I'm talking about. But since he left the team in 2015, you're looking at guys like Ben McAdoo for 2 years, then Steve Spagnuolo coming in for him, then Pat Shurmur, and then Joe Judge, Brian Dable, and of recently Mike Kafka filling in the role. I mean, it truly does not get more difficult than 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And I know some of them, a couple of those guys are interim, but 6 coaches in the last decade is absurd, regardless if they're filling in for other firings or not, which might even make it worse that they had that many guys filling in that time period. This team has seen some rough coaching decisions in the last few years. They haven't found a guy like this, a guy that is on pace to be a Hall of Fame coach at the end of the day when he retires. And honestly, at this point, I don't care about age. I really don't. I don't think it matters at all. If you are one of those people, I mean, I don't see any Giants fans upset with this decision. I know John Harbaugh is 63 years old, but he seems, I mean, listen, he had Lamar Jackson as his quarterback, and he didn't seem too out of it with having, how to coach Lamar Jackson at Baltimore, right? He seemed right on top of it, and he knew what he was doing. This is so exciting. and I think Giants fans should be excited. Are the players absolutely there? No, but the centerpieces are there, right? I mean, I keep on seeing all these graphics now on social media with Dart and Scadaboo and Neighbors, and that being the case. Yes, I mean those are three guys that you can look forward to. Obviously, it's kind of a question mark with Scadaboo and Neighbors because you don't know how they're going to turn out after these injuries and how they're going to recover. But I mean, if something is going to get them to want to be in tip top shape for next season, a new head coach, and that it being John Harbaugh, that should get them wanting to play, excited to play, and maybe if it was a different coach and it wasn't John Harbaugh, it might have been a different story. But you're talking about a guy with a 180, 113 regular season record that's over 600. He's had postseason appearances. He's played in over 20 games in the postseason. I think 25, 13-11's the record. And I mean, this guy led the Ravens to over 193 wins. That's including the playoffs over his 18 seasons. He has the third most wins in the NFL over that span. Um, and yeah, the most wins by Ravens head coach in franchise history. Ravens had 13 winning seasons, only 3 losing seasons. I mean, the guy's resume is there. That stands for itself. And this is kind of crazy that this guy's going to now coach the New York Giants. I'm still in disbelief that they made this happen. And it's so funny because it's like normally I'm up till that late. I know the Adam Schefter report of finalizing the deal was happening around midnight. And of course, the one night I go to bed early to try and get some extra sleep, it happens. And along with that, and I want to, I don't know much about Todd Monken yet, but I do know that the Giants are looking to make him the offensive coordinator. And now this begs the question, or I think we already know the answer to it because the reports have been coming out and we've been talking about it on this show. If John Harbaugh became the head coach of the New York Giants, he'd work basically alongside Joe Schoen with making these decisions of who's going to be this coordinator, who's going to be that coordinator, and draft picks and free agents. It would kind of be a hand-in-hand move because John Harbaugh has been in the league longer than Joe Schoen. John Harbaugh has a lot of extensive head coaching experience, and let's be honest, John Harbaugh at 62 years old, he doesn't want to wait anymore, right? I mean, this is his fresh start for sure, but it's not something where he's like, listen, I need like 3 years and then we could really talk about making the playoff. Like this guy wants to make stuff happen and he wants to do it now. And he doesn't want a general manager who might be making decisions on his own and not even talking to the head coach about it. And he's like, this is my team. I'm going to run it the way I want. So it was a matter of Joe Schoen hiring a guy like Kevin Stefanski or maybe even like a Kubiak and saying, I run this team and this is my decisions. And then you'll have to work from that. I think this is going to be a partner and partner sort of deal now. And I think Joe Schoen then learned, and I said this on earlier episodes, he learned from the Brian Daboll experience that I can't do this by myself. I can't make all these decisions because, let's be honest, Joe Schoen wasn't really great at it. So now having John Harbaugh hopefully in that room and these guys working collectively all together, you have some really great minds in there, especially John Harbaugh's mind, that can hopefully turn this ship in the right direction, turn this Giants team in the right direction, and hopefully Todd Monken, I might have said something, I think I said Monken, I hope. Todd Monken can hopefully do that. He's expected to join John Harbaugh, as the Giants offensive coordinator. That's per Ian Rappaport. Monken has been the Ravens offensive coordinator since 2023. Lamar Jackson finished second in MVP voting in 2023, first the next year under Monken. So he's bringing his ship with him. He's bringing his guys. We'll see who gets hired as the Giants defensive coordinator, but I mean, this is pretty cool now. I mean, he's bringing them along with him. So John Harbaugh gets fired by the Baltimore Ravens. The Baltimore Ravens owner, by the way, says, oh, what if Tyler Lute made that field goal? Oh, well, he would have only been there for one more week, which is interesting from the ownership, meaning they were ready and done with Harbaugh, regardless of how the playoffs went. But you know what? Harbaugh's like, all right, fine. F it. I'll take your guys then. I'll take my guys. They're mine. Takes Monken, the offensive coordinator, who's also older, in terms of NFL coaches. Everyone's moving kind of younger and younger now and looking for a future generation who they hope is smarter and has a better touch on the offense and defense and makes more interesting schemes. But the Giants they're hiring a little bit more older. As I said, Harbaugh is in his younger 60s. Monken is 59. But he, OC with the Ravens, as I mentioned, in 2023, comes from a family of coaches as well. His father, his brothers, uncles, and cousins. He's first entered as a wide receiver coach before becoming the OC. Previously was the offensive coordinator for the Buccaneers in 2018, for the Browns in 2019. His extensive history in terms of coaching, he's been doing it since the 80s. 89. He was his first year as a grad assistant with Grand Valley State. He's moved up the ranks. He was a DB and wide receivers coach at Eastern Michigan for a period in the 90s. Went to Oklahoma State in the early 2000s as a passing game coordinator and with the wide receivers as well. Then was LSU's passing game coordinator with the wide receivers, and that elevated him to the NFL level. Started with the Jaguars as a wide receivers coach from 2007 to 2010. Went back to college football with Oklahoma State in 2011-2012 as their OC and quarterbacks coach. Then Southern Miss from 2013 to 2015. Then back to the NFL again. Where he was the OC and wide receivers coach of the Bucks. The Browns, he was Georgia's offensive coordinator and QB coach from 2020 to 2022. And then, as I mentioned, in 2023, that's when John Harbaugh brought him in to be the offensive coordinator of the Baltimore Ravens, where he seemed to have success. Also, by the way, in 21 and 22, he was a CFP national champion with Georgia. So he went to Georgia, immediately made an impact, and in 2 of his 3 seasons there in the early 2020s, he got 2 national championships. This is, again, I'm still trying to kind of wrap my mind around it. In his first season at OC was when the Ravens went 13-4. They got the AFC top seed in the 23-24 season. Now, did they win the Super Bowl? No, they didn't. It sucks. You had to play Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs, and you lost. But, I mean, just think about, I know Lamar Jackson and Jackson Dart are 2 different players. I completely understand that. But just think about, this is what Monken and Harbaugh did with Lamar Jackson. What can they do with Jackson Dart? This is a second-year quarterback who showed flashes in his rookie year. He showed why he could and should be the Giants' future. And now these 2 tenured, long-time coaches in the NFL are coming to coach him. And its specific reason why Harbaugh was hired was because of Jackson Dart. He was literally there for the meeting. He met Harbaugh. They must have discussed something. And he ended up choosing the New York Giants as his next destination. I really hope he didn't make an incorrect decision. And by the way, the whole talk over the season and the end of it, Joe Schoen being the general manager of the New York Giants, so the Giants need a new GM. Something must have worked, because at the end of the day, again, it might have been that he said, listen, we can work on this hand in hand, or you can have a lot of input in these decisions. Whatever it was, Joe Schoen is still the GM of the New York Giants, and John Harbaugh is still the head coach of the New York Giants and will be the head coach. That is so weird to say. I cannot imagine John Harbaugh wearing the Giants logo on his chest, and it's crazy to me because I haven't pictured him in anything else than anything with a Baltimore Ravens logo on it. And now he's the head coach of my football team, and I know they haven't won anything yet. They've had losing season after losing season over the last decade. They've had missed draft picks, and it's sucked. But I really just hope that this is the start of a step in the right direction by hiring a guy like John Harbaugh. And I think it will be. Still can't believe this happened. I'm sure you at home or however you're watching or listening to this maybe feel similarly. Maybe you thought you were confident as a Giants fan that this was always going to happen and John Harbaugh was always going to pick New York. Certainly wasn't me. So listen, if that's you, I applaud you for your confidence in this football team and in Joe Schoen and in John Mara and the entire organization. But regardless of how you felt, it happened. And oh wow, this is exciting. I am really excited. Wow. All right. The New York Giants and John Harbaugh, officially a partnership, whatever you want to call it. John Harbaugh is officially the next head coach of this New York Giants team. Everyone get excited. It's going to be really fun. And we'll be covering it here on the Giant Take podcast. I appreciate you listening or watching this episode. If you want to further support us, feel free to do so on our social media platforms at the Giant Take Pod, where we have live updates on all the stuff going on. I guess not more with the coaches, but still be down the line with defensive coordinator and all the assistants and things of that nature. So stay updated on there. Hit the subscribe button. We'll see you next time. Again, one more time. I'm going to keep saying it because I still don't believe it's real. John Harbaugh is the next head coach of the New York Giants. See you next time. Peace.